What is going on, investors? Back again. Super excited to be here with you talking about Apple, ticker symbol AAPL. We'll take a look. Man, earnings just reported for this company right after the bell, and this stock is soaring for a number of reasons. We'll jump into the numbers here, and we'll take a look at what happened in the quarter that is driving these shares higher in the after hours. Now, probably the biggest news for Apple shareholders, or one that you don't see a lot in today's market. This is something that happened a lot more often in the previous era of stock trading, is we're going to get a 4-to-1 stock split. So for every one share that you have of Apple, you're going to get 4. Now, obviously, they're going to divide the share price at that time into 4 as well. And so your total dollar amount of Apple shares is not necessarily going to go up, but you will have more shares of Apple. And as dividends increase and things like that moving forward, you will have more of those shares. And so that's super exciting. I haven't seen a stock split from a major company in a while now. And so each Apple shareholder of record at the close of business on August 24th, 2020. So if you are an Apple shareholder or you want to be one and you want to participate in this stock split, you want to do that before August 24th, 2020. You will get 4 shares for every one stock. But again, they'll divide the stock price at that time, and the stock price will actually go down to it'll be essentially divided by 4. So we see shares are reacting super nice. So we're going to jump into the numbers here in a second. Then we'll come over to the chart. I'll show you that this stock broke trend and is now, just like Facebook and a lot of these tech companies, back above trend. So we'll see if there's any spot where we can buy this before this stock split occurs if you want to participate in it. Full disclosure, I have Apple shares. It is my best performing stock that I have ever purchased, at least in large enough quantities that it really matters. So here's Apple here. We got 3 months ended here. We got our 9 months ended here. Super solid. I mean, this is a quarter where they didn't really release a new phone. They didn't release a lot of new products. This is obviously a quarter where a lot of their stores have been closed. A lot of stuff going on in the world, and they still delivered super solid top line. The services line as well, still growing very nicely. And you can see the margins here. Here's cost of sales here. Take a look. We spent $4.3 billion to make $13.1 billion. We spent call it $5 billion to make, call it $40 billion. Now on the product side, the margins aren't as good, but it's still good for a consumer electronic company, a computer company, a phone company. You spent 32.7 to make, call it $47 billion. That's absolutely sensational. We'll take a look in a minute whether this came from iPhones or whether it came from computers or iPads or a little bit of all of it, because I think that'll be interesting as well to you. So we've got our gross margin here off $59 billion in 3 months. We made 22.7, and then off 200 and call it $10 billion for 9 months. We made $80 billion. Wow, that's a lot. Now we've got other operating expenses. Obviously, we've got research and development and some selling and general administrative, but it's not that bad. We had a total of 9.5 for the quarter. Take that off of 22.7 billion, and you get an operating income for the quarter at $13.1 billion. That compares extraordinarily favorable to the previous period where we did 11.5. So that's absolutely sensational. The same thing holds true for the 9-month view. You had an $80 billion gross margin. You minus the operating expenses here at, call it $29 billion, and you get a $51.5 billion operating income for 9 months. That compares, again, favorably to the $48 billion. On paper, this doesn't look like it's moving up that much, okay? Because this is like 2.5, 2.6 billion, $2.8 billion. But we're talking about massive numbers here. And this is operating income. This is not revenue. This is operating income going up by billions of dollars over the last couple months. And it's been a difficult situation out there. We've got earning per share data we see here. This is a company that pays pays a dividend and has plenty of money to cover that dividend. And so you can expect that to grow over the years. They've also been buying back shares here. We see diluted shares in the previous period. Those went down, and we see here as well. So you're getting a buyback, you're getting a dividend, you're getting stock split, you're getting rising net income, you're getting rising revenues. There's a reason why these tech stocks keep going up and up and up and up. Now, what's interesting here is we got the segments. We got America, Europe, China, Japan, rest of APAC. Everything looks pretty good. I can't believe, everybody must have taken their stimulus money, or everybody with a job and everybody's making money must be buying an iPhone or buying an iMac or something, because these numbers are still going up. And they had lots of stores closed. The one by me is closed still here in America. So they have stores closed, but they're still delivering their products to the customers. It's absolutely phenomenal. And we see here the total net revenues broken out by segment, obviously ticked up over the periods. Now, here's what I think is most interesting. It's probably shouldn't be a surprise to anybody, but we have iPhone sales here. Again, not a quarter where they release a new one, or, the 5G model or a cheaper model, things like that. So it's really nice. This is iPhone, seeing it go up. You don't always see this in this third quarter here for Apple. Seeing this go up is really nice. Now, I think probably the more exciting thing and the more interesting piece is take a look at the Macintosh and the iPad numbers. These really accelerated nicely. Look at iPad accelerate. I think it's because you have people working from home. You have people with school-age children now doing their school from home. You have a lot of home offices being set up. I think that's where the driver was here in this growth, because this is growing a lot faster than I recall seeing in previous earnings reports. So this is a company that has a diverse business line, and while even though iPhone is accelerating, these other markets are accelerating as well. That should drive margin to the service level as well, because if you have an iPad or an iMac, chances are you're going to need iCloud or some of the maybe Apple Music and some other stuff as well. We've got wearable and home accessories. It's interesting. That is almost as big now as iPad. In fact, in the previous period, see how much iPad actually grew. So the wearables had actually overtaken iPad, and it almost overtook Mac, but those two groups accelerated very nicely, and wearables still grew. So this is a strong quarter for Apple, and I can expect with a new phone here expected in the next few months or maybe even weeks, I think that more good things are ahead for Apple. Now, from the balance sheet side, we know this company is flush with cashola. They've got the $60 billion. They've basically got $100 billion in cash. Now, it's balanced off a little bit, because take a look at this term debt here. This is a lot of debt, okay? That is $100 billion in debt. But if you take a look at their borrowing, how much they pay to buy this debt or to acquire this debt, it is very low, likely lower than what you pay on your mortgage at home. So you can imagine how low that is. Cash flows for 9 months ticked up absolutely. It's just phenomenal what we see here with this company. Everything else looks very much in line with me. They are repaying some long-term debt here. They issued some common stock here. It looks like to maybe raise a little. That's just insignificant amounts of money when compared to other things here. We've got the dividends here. We've got the repurchase of common stock. Take a look at this. Look at, they're doing these share buybacks as well. So that is great to see. Now, probably what you're wondering is, where in the heck do you buy Apple shares right now? They have accelerated in after hours up to over $400 per share. I put this trend line in before the after hours trade started, because I was like, okay, so here's our trend with Apple. It broke trend. It did exactly what like Facebook did and a couple other stocks. It actually broke this trend line for the first time in a long time, okay? Many months since making its low back here. It has been on a consistent uptrend, and then it broke trend. And this trend line was going to provide resistance on the way up. But what happened in the after hours when this stellar report came out is it accelerated up over this trend line. So now this trend line will provides support again. I think the momentum of another phone, momentum of students and kids being at home offices, all that is going to continue for Apple. That momentum will continue. And I think if you want to come in here and buy these shares at that $400 mark, I honestly would not blame you. I am a long-term holder of this stock. I am probably not going to be adding to my position at the current time because I'm probably slightly overweight anyways. But if I were to add, I would not hesitate at this $400 level. Again, you're going to buy one share, and if it holds this $400 level, you'll end up with 4 shares worth about $100 each once they split later in August. So expect that this trend line here will actually come back and be intact. The stock will likely use this trend line as support as it chops up and keeps going up. I think the next stop, who knows where the next stop is for this stock? I think we're probably at close to all-time highs for Apple, so it is very hard to understand where this stock is going. It could go all the way up to 450, even up to 500. I don't know, but this stock is continuing this uptrend, and it should continue going forward since the trend is your friend in this situation, and these earnings reports, absolutely phenomenal. So there was Apple. Hopefully you guys are all doing well out there. This market cap should increase. This forward dividend yield, while low, should continue to grow. We saw just for 10 months there, 9 months here, they had tremendous amount of earnings per share. Look at this. This is for 9 months here, and they have $10 earnings per share. And notice that the dividend for the whole year is at $3, and they haven't even had their best quarter yet for Apple. So this is a dividend that will continue to grow and grow and grow as the time goes on as well. For me, this is a long-term holding stock and one that you keep in the portfolio for as long as you possibly can. There we go. That was Apple. We'll be back with Amazon and a couple more later today. Thanks for tuning in. Good luck with your investments.